As the headmaster ritual from the new album Meat is Murder, Johnny Marr did the music and Morrissey did the words. They're both with us this afternoon. Welcome, boys, again.
Hello.
About a year ago, you know, we talked to you when the first album came out. It probably seems longer ago than that for you, I should think, after all that's happened. Produced by you this time, though, Johnny. A bit of a change from what John Porter, I think, was last time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Why is this?
It was a conscious decision when we finished William It Was Really Nothing, I think, which was the last thing we did with John. Because with the first LP and with Hatful of Hollow, there was a certain kind of market, shall we say, for both LPs. There were a lot of people who preferred the kind of raw sound, say, of the a naive sound of the John Peel sessions. But there was still there were a lot of kind of aspects to my mind that John Porter put in that really enhanced what was already there, and so we really went for a compromise, and the LP really to me sounds like a mixture of both. We've retained some of the kind of, as I say, naivety and spontaneity was what we were really going for and what we were missing slightly with working with a producer, but. Having said that, there were a few kind of production tricks that we incorporated in this new LP. I'm not talking about fade in and fade out.
It's a really interesting sounding album, I think. I mean, obviously it's a very recognisable style of the Smiths anyway. I mean, you can tell a Smiths record ages away, I should think. But obviously you wanted to take the sound a bit further as well, didn't you? I mean, obviously that was important as well. I think the biggest change, though, Morrissey, actually is in the lyrics. Because it's such an angry record. The words are so angry. Yes, it is.
And I think it is because lots of people think that once you make the crossover and you become quite successful and you have lots of fans and you sell lots of records, etc., that you become somewhat flaccid and fat, and obviously you can't have any anger because success kind of cushions you from all the realities of life. And it hasn't happened to us because we're so realistic about what we do. And so although it wasn't really a conscious effort to let's be terribly angry, it just happened that way.
Well, the difference is, of course, because I think that the first album was such a romantic view of the world.
Yes.
Really. I don't mean Moon in June romance, but
yes,
I mean very much sort of otherworldly, look through rose-coloured spectacles, perhaps, or a very romantic view. This is really quite different, very gritty, I think.
Yes, it's very gritty, but life is gritty.
And that last one, which is obviously about your experiences in school, I suppose. Was it really that bad? Really that bad?
Oh, it was worse. It was much, much worse. That's just that's the tame version. Yes, it was quite bad. It was quite brutal. And
do you actually write from experience, though, I wonder?
Always. I can't really do anything else because otherwise it just wouldn't make sense to me. It's like really stepping into a role, and it becomes theatrical. So no, I really do have to, look through the old diaries and. Etc.
Is it a mark of your confidence, though, I wonder, as a lyricist now, I mean, the experience you've had over the last couple of years, do you now feel you can tackle different subjects, I wonder?
Yes, I think I always did, though. I don't feel that I'm really learning anything. I don't feel that I've been an apprentice and now I'm, the shop foreman or whatever. No, I think I've always felt quite confident.
I'll tell you one thing I'm surprised by, though. We're turning now to the title track of the album, Meat is Murder. One thing I'm surprised by, because you don't seem to be this sort of person, really. You're very prepared here to really, wear your heart on your sleeve, really make a statement.
Well, I think with a title like that, you have to. You can't make a forgettable disco record. It has to be quite serious and it has to be quite provoking. And it has. I think it's worked to great effect. I think it's very effective.
Let's actually listen to it, shall we? This is Meat is Murder.
"4, Saturday Live. That is Meat is Murder, the title track from the new Smiths LP. If you just joined us, we're talking to Morrissey and Johnny Marr about the album. And, Morrissey, we were just talking about the LP title, its importance. Yes. It seems a bit of a sort of simplistic bit of sloganising, though, in a way, isn't it?
Yes, it can seem that way. I think we'll ultimately prove that it's not, really. Because so many people in popular music don't really say strong things and don't really say important things. When people become terribly famous, they just slip into the usual routine, and we didn't want to. So we still want to say things that are very strong.
How committed are you individually to this animal rights campaign?
Committed, I think, to virtually a fault. I mean, I can get terribly emotional about it, which is, uncomfortable for everybody. But yes, I mean, rigidly committed.
I saw a quote, I think, in one popular paper this week.
Oh, yes.
In which I think you were talking about the extremists who kind of play around with Mars bars in the shops.
Yes, yes.
What is your actual attitude? Because I don't believe a word I see in these papers, so I'd rather hear from you.
No, I mean, this is a point which I'm not really massively qualified to talk about, the Mars bars ritual, because when it happened, we weren't actually even in the country. But for some reason, I was cornered on it, and I found that I was becoming a spokesperson virtually for the animal rights movement, which is wrong. And I don't really want to say anything about this topic because I don't know that much about it.
Right, but do you feel that at least using your music as a vehicle, you can perhaps make a few people realise the realities of
I can't really see why not. I think so, yes. I think people are willing to be quite enlightened. And even if people ultimately reject it, even if people ultimately say, well, no, we just have to eat meat, whatever happens, at least they've thought about it. At least it provokes people.
Yeah, I think most people just don't want to think about it,
No, they don't, but they've got to. I'm sorry.
All right, thank you very much. Johnny, critics, looking at the first LP, tended to say that it was a little bit samey if it had a fault, that a lot of the tracks had a very similar feel to them. Now, listening to this album, it seems to me like there's a terrific variety of style all the way through. I wonder how deliberate that was, or whether you even agree with the critics about the first LP.
Yeah, I agree to a certain extent. I thought that was one of the beauties of the LP, really.
This is back to that naivety you were talking about, in a way, isn't it?
Yeah, but with the first LP, the way the songs were written, there was the Smiths vein. I wouldn't go along with the fact that it was samey, because I think that dismisses it just too easily. I mean, play I Don't Owe You Anything next to Miserable Line, you've got two completely extreme kind of songs. And as far as variety on the new LP, I think that could be down to the naivety I was trying to explain earlier. And I can't really explain the kind of variation in the variety in the tempos and songs, really. I think it's just one of those things where the songs have accumulated vastly different in vastly different kind of situations and circumstances. One could be at a sound check, one could be at my flat at 4:30 in the morning or whatever. Whereas when it's probably pretty likely, but when we first started, Morrissey and I worked together solidly from the start in a certain way, and so that's probably why.
Yes. So when you write a song, or when things come together, do you tend to keep them in the same sort of feel then, from the initial inspiration right through to the finished product? That there is a feel that is still obviously 4:30 in your flat, or backstage at a gig, or something that runs through? Well,
if anything, I think we normally find that if we lose what was there originally in the song, that's the dilemma, really. And it's nice always to enhance what's already there, but in the studio, you can tend to sort of get waylaid and involved in other things. And we do like to keep the original inspiration and the original feel, yes.
Yeah. There's a lot more light and shade on this LP, I think, undoubtedly, for various reasons. But it very much sounds like a band album, Morrissey.
Yes.
Maybe more of a band album than the first LP. I mean, how much of a band now is the Smiths, the other two, and you?
Well, it was always very unified, always. Initially, it seems though it wasn't, because it took the press a long time to realise that there was more than two members.
That's right.
And in many cases, more than even one member. But no, the group has always been very unified, and I can't comment on that, really. I mean, we don't program, we don't really pre-plan the songs rigidly, because that lacks spontaneity, and it lacks creativity. You can't really schedule writing songs. It happens or it doesn't happen, it's good or it's bad. So, I mean, the record is just really the record. It's just turned out the way it has. So.
Well, all four of us have played together, obviously, longer than we did this time last year.
So it's getting more cohesive, really, I suppose.
Yeah, it is.
Here's another example of it. Shall we hear another
Far
track?
away, Richard.
He was just about to say the most important line there, and I stopped him.
I've forgotten it now.
That joke isn't funny anymore.
Park the car at the side of the road.
Complete with a fade that is on the record, I hasten to add. That joke isn't funny anymore. The Smiths from Meat is Murder. We were just chatting while that was on, actually, about the last couple of times you've been into Saturday Live, one of which was when you were working with Sandy Shaw, Morrissey, wasn't it?
Yes.
Do you have any plans for any more collaborations with people outside the group? Because that seems a very successful one, from the outside, anyway.
Yes, we thought it was really successful. We're very open, as far as the future is concerned, to working with other people. We do want to work with Sandy again. Something will happen. We're not quite sure of it yet. But no, with the whole Sandy project, we were really proud. We thought it was a massive success. I don't think the media quite saw it that way for some reason.
I don't think they understood it.
No,
somehow.
I think it frightened them somehow. You know, the Smiths, Sandy Shaw, they're so totally diverse, it couldn't possibly work, and if it does work, it kind of breaks the fabric of, you know, the music industry. So, no, we're very proud of it, really.
Yeah.
But, Johnny, yeah.
I think if you listen to that record now, away from all the kind of hysteria and the press hysteria that was surrounding the whole collaboration, it was played on Radio 1, actually, the other day, to my surprise. It sounds like a really good, strong record, and it sounds completely different to a lot of the things before and after. And so I think all the people who bought it should go back and listen to it now again, without all the kind of hysteria. And it sounds great.
I agree. I heard it at the same time. I think it can't be played more than once this week.
Well, I heard it for days.
All right. Now, what about this LP? Are you ready for what could be a critical backlash, which seems to so often happen with the music press, on a successful group's second LP?
I think we hope that it's actually over, because as far as we can see, it started quite a long time ago. We feel that perhaps now it's time to reverse the backlash and support the Smiths. We can sense it in the air, but we're probably wrong, but still, we live in hope.
OK. Andy?
I tell you what I wanted to ask you. You haven't heard the clips that we've used to promote you coming in. But,
No.
there's this terrific quote we pinched from the last time you were a year ago, saying what indescribable joy it was that everybody wanted to see. I wonder, in this past year, both of you, I mean, you particularly then, Morrissey, because you said it the first time, has the dream soured at all over this 12 months?
Not in the ways that count, not in the things that are important. In other ways it has. You do get very cynical about lots of people who are in the industry, but no, in the important ways, records and writing and meeting people like Smith supporters. No, it hasn't soured. It just increases daily.
I wonder, though, do you think, Johnny, you were ready for the attention that you received? I mean, people hanging on every note, I mean, waiting for everything you had to do and say.
Yeah, I certainly do.
Really, right?
Yeah, I think we had a lot more important things to say than the groups who were around us when we first started, and I think that's still valid. That's something I've never ever doubted, really.
But I mean, Morrissey, you've said some very unguarded things over the past 12 months. I mean, the famous quote, you know, how you've contemplated suicide. I bet you regretted that, didn't you?
No, I don't regret it. No, I mean, that was quite serious. But no, it's difficult when, with me, for better or worse, people do rigidly take notice. I find, certainly journalists do, wait for the next word. It's a very curious way to live, because you can't be trivial anymore, and you have to be very guarded. So it's trivial. It's serious and trivial, but it's nice. I mean, I don't want to be, a butcher or anything.
But I wonder if people take you, I don't know, whether they take you too seriously or not seriously enough.
Well, it's either one or the other, So.
I think we'll give up, actually. One more question to both of you. Have you, as a band, Johnny, do you think, achieved everything you set out to achieve so far?
No. I mean, we're only, a year and a half on. I think we've, our message is we have only just scratched the surface, and there are a lot more avenues to explore. Certainly for me, musically. And I'm still as inspired as ever, if not more. So the future's looking rosy for us. From our point of view, we are into writing more, and as I say, I think we just scratched the surface. We've got lots more potential, and we haven't fulfilled our potential at all yet.
Great. And what about individually, Morrissey? You feel you've achieved everything you set out to achieve?
Achieved a great deal, but no, I mean, we've only been here for 18 months. We've only existed for over 2 years, so no, there's lots to do. Blah, 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 and I'm sure we'll do it. But the things are, we're really pleased, and it's very comfortable at the moment. Comfortable in a very creative way, not in a sloppy way.
You're obviously worried about this. Obviously worried about this. Keep going back to this all the time. Well, I'm sure this is an appropriate one to play or not, actually, is it?
Yeah, I'm sure it will be. No, we're fast. It's all right, isn't it?
It's not bad.
By the way, thank you for not going to America last last year. I think that was a marvellous decision.
Oh, good.
All right. Have a good tour. This is Nowhere Fast.
I'd like to drop my trousers to the world I